What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of Insightful Principles. Within this episode today, I want to discuss the psychology of investing. This is a very important topic. The relationship you have with money is a direct correlation of how you think, feel, and behave. This plays a vital role with the application when it comes to the psychology of your personal finances. Now, what we tell ourselves subconsciously ultimately affects what happens consciously when it comes to our finances. So we create what's called subconscious and conscious money beliefs. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, if you were told as a child or even now that people that make a lot of money are bad or money doesn't grow on trees, then that can have an effect of your relationship with money, of being able to accumulate money. Now, if you have a mindset of having wealth provides a sense of financial security, then that change of language changes your beliefs on the relationship that you have with money. Therefore, you'll be more likely to want to accumulate it over a long period of time. Now, if you all can do me a huge favor, if you could please like, subscribe, and share this video, that would be greatly appreciated. Now, what I want to discuss is that, when it comes to the relationship of money, this usually starts at a very early age with being able to observe our parents and just learning what they have taught us when it comes to handling money. Now, there is a lot of beliefs and behaviors that start to form at an early age as we grow into becoming an adult. And what I would say for me is that my parents growing up, they were mainly frugal, especially when it came to, looking for a bargain. They were, always on it. And I could definitely say that they did provide a lot of great, excellent examples for me when it came to my finances. Whether it was, buying a new pair of shoes, buying clothes, especially my dad, he would always tell me to shop around, to find a deal. And that really helped me as I got older, because even now, I never buy the first thing that I see. And, I would think that, another concept that I loved that my dad taught me was the envelope system, which is a system where you're budgeting, you're taking your envelopes out. One was labeled for charity, another was labeled for saving, and another was for video games, because I love video games. I was always playing something, and the envelope system really taught me about discipline and just being able to budget and save for the items that I wanted to purchase. So it was a great system that my dad put in place for me. And with my mom, she always taught me about getting a second opinion, never settling for the first thing, and always kind of like the same thing with my dad, shopping around, getting a bargain, getting a discount, which is very essential, especially in today's time. Everyone is looking at ways of how they can save money with still being in the pandemic. And I think that these lessons that were taught to me as a child with the importance of saving, budgeting, buying items at a discount is what I still apply today in my adult life. Now, in order to improve the psychology when it comes to your money or investing, you have to be aware of the habits that you have formed since you were a child until now. And a lot of times when we were taught something when we were younger that may have not been the best information that applies into today's world, you have to find a way to either reprogram or rethink of how you were taught to handle money. And as you can see here, that's going to be one of the strategies that I talk about throughout this episode, is that you have to reprogram your mind on how to build wealth for the long term. A lot of times when we were a child, we would hear certain things, like I said at the beginning of this video, money doesn't grow on trees, which is, the limited mindset, the limited belief that you're not able to create the ability to have abundance, to be able to make more of yourself, and to be able to accumulate more wealth within your life. Or, even as a child, not being taught to invest. I was looking at a documentary the other day, and it talked about how Warren Buffett started investing at the age of 10 years old, and he became a millionaire by the age of 30. So I definitely think that the importance of starting early, we weren't taught that as a child. But at the same time, you have to reprogram your mind to understand that, okay, how can I start now, this very moment? How can I put the habits and the behaviors within my life to be able to create successful financial decisions so I can become wealthy over time, and learning the information so if you have kids or if you're working to wanting to start a family in the future, you can be able to share that blueprint with them. Now, I think also what's important is when it comes to the psychology investing, you have to really think about how our brains are designed. Now, when it comes to the brain, think of it as two different interconnected systems. Now, with system one, you have your brain, which is the amygdala, which it uses functions to be able to simplify information. The function of it is to simplify information and also allows you to make quick decisions. So if I ask you what's 4 plus 4, automatically you're going to think that it's 8. Now, you're going to know that it's 8. Now, on the other side of that, you have a different perspective, a different spectrum of the brain where it's the prefrontal cortex, which is slow, is deliberate, is very calculated. It takes time for you to make a decision. So if you're trying to solve a complex math problem, you're more likely with your prefrontal cortex is going to take you a moment to really think about how to solve that answer. So as I'm going through this video and I'm talking about, some of the traps, the bias that comes with psychology of investing, I also want you to think about how the brain is designed and how that plays a role with a lot of our financial decisions in life. Now, what I want to go into details with is that, when it comes to, the psychology of investing, one of the biggest traps that I tend to see in that I observe is the money status. That is a money belief where you are trying to showcase what you have. You're trying to show a status. You're trying to show that your self-worth is your net worth, where in reality the opposite is happening. So instead of your net worth increasing, you're showing off liabilities, and internally you don't have any assets. So I see that very prevalent, especially when it comes to the black community. We tend to have conversations on having the latest clothes, the shoes, having jewelry, and I think that the society that we live in is marketed to us to have a consumption-based lifestyle, especially a high consumption-based lifestyle. That's one thing that really traps us and that can hinder us from being able to accomplish our financial goals. So I think that you have to always have perspective to know that your focus shouldn't be on buying extravagant things, but being able to acquire assets and build wealth for the long term and being able to leave a legacy behind for your heirs. That should be the importance. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't buy nice things. You certainly can, but keep in mind of the long-term perspective. Also look at your vision and understand that you want to focus more on your assets to be able to take care of those liabilities if you do want to buy, some nice things for yourself. Now, another challenge that you will also see when it comes to just the mind, when it comes to investing, is your present versus your future self. Now, this is a very important concept that I did some research on, and pretty much what it means is you are not taking action. You're not planning on what you want your future self to be with your financial goals. So presently, you're not taking any actions to, invest and save for 20, 30 years down the line, specifically investing. And you have to imagine who you're going to be in the future, and you want to create an emotional connection with your future self. So when there isn't that emotional connection, this is often what stops us from planning for the future. So as you can see here, the present versus the future self is very important. And I think that, one piece of advice that I heard from a financial advisor on a webinar is one way that you can help with this is you can download an app where it ages you over time. and you can use that as a reflection of who you want to be in the future. And you want to look at what you're doing now financially and analyze how those decisions will reflect how you will feel when you grow older. Because a lot of times when we tell, I hear it all the time, especially within my career, when you speak with different people that, talk to you about 401ks, they always say the importance of investing for 20, 30 years. But I think sometimes what stops us is it could be affordability, not having the money to invest, but you have to find a way to make it happen. But also it's that emotional connection. We can't see how we're going to look 30 years down the line. So we're not necessarily taking the actions because we don't feel like what we're doing currently now can affect what's going to happen 30 years down the line. And I think that's when you change your mind frame and you create that emotional connection. It's no different when you have a goal. And let's say, for example, your goal is to be able to help pay your parents' house off one day, or to be able to pay off your own credit card debt. A lot of those goals are emotional because you're doing it for a purpose. The reason why you want to be able to pay off debt is because you want to be financially free. You want to have the flexibility to do what you want. Or even if in a case if you're helping your parents pay off debt, you want to be able to give back to them as much as they have given to you. And honestly, that's my approach into life. The reason why I will continue to go hard and to really become something of myself is because I really want to be able to give back, to my parents and be able to help them with their debt and really be an example, in the family of really giving back and showing how to get it. So, I think that, when it comes to your present versus your future self, you have to create that emotional connection that allows you to be able to start planning now for the long term. That wraps it up for this episode. I am going to have another episode that talks about the psychology of investing, where I'm going to break down loss aversion. I'm going to talk about hindsight bias and also confirmation bias. So definitely tune in and watch the next video. There's going to be a continuation of this one. And I also wanted to say, if you could please like, subscribe, and share this video. Continue to share this message of financial literacy with your family and friends. That would be greatly appreciated. And I want to tell you all, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Insightful Principles, and take care.